Welcome everybody, Solaris here. Today we're gonna be making a Daimon guide, so let's start analyzing her kit. Her main gun, the Red Cannon, is a high damage, low rate of fire auto rifle. You can use auto fire with her and the game will auto scope in as soon as your crosshair gets close to an enemy or a shield, but it will unscope automatically as soon as you move away your crosshair. Instead, if you tap the fire button, it will enter ADS mode and you won't unscope until you press the cancel button. The damage per headshot is insanely high, and it can literally shred any hero in the game if you hit your shots consistently, tanks included. She is the best obviously at mid to long range. Sometimes when you die, you're gonna get this slow bug on respawn. To fix it, just cancel the ADS mode, scope back in and cancel it again. Her first ability is called Greedy Leap, which is gonna be her flying movement ability. Daimon basically flies forward and hovers to a wall until you cancel the ability and let her drop off the wall. The more height you start your fly from, the higher you'll be able to hover to a wall. Here I'm gonna show you some of the best spots for every ranked map. You shouldn't be using them often because enemies can get used to you being there pretty quickly, so be sure to change your positioning after 1 or 2 fights. On escort maps, you are basically only gonna use the defense side spots. Meanwhile, on attack, you are gonna use it to get to safety or to get on 2 very good high grounds on Old Medina. One is gonna be this higher high ground on the left side, and the other one is gonna be the top of the pyramid. On the new map, there's also this tree spot, which is actually crazy. You should use it for sure. You can also use it to chase down low HP enemies. Her second active ability is called Lazy Bomb. Daimon launches a grenade and the enemies who get caught in the explosion will be pulled to the ground and will be unable to jump. You can use it to counter flying abilities or even use it as a finisher because it does a lot of damage. Her ultimate is called Glutton Beam. She launches a beam that flies forward and gets slowly wider. The beam will be at the same height of the ground where Daimon is walking on. If you're hovering onto a wall, the beam will be at the height of the ground right underneath Daimon. The beam goes through walls, and since it's usually on the ground, you need to combo it with your lazy bomb so that your enemies won't be able to dodge it. It can also have 2 charges, so you can send 2 of them at the same time. Her passive, Arrogant Shield, is just some temporary shield after she hasn't taken damage for a while. Now we're gonna talk about some matchups. I divided it into easy, hard, and skill-based matchups. As the very good matchups, we have heroes like Hunter, who has a very big hitbox and can be countered easily with a lazy bomb. Christina, who has an insane big headshot hitbox, and in the end, Gallin, whose movement is very limited and so she's very easy to hit. We also have 2 more good matchups against Gloria and Judex. Daimon can't wall clip, so you have to be careful picking into a wall clip Gloria or Judex. What I usually do is fly right behind them after hitting a couple shots and finish them off, also with the help of the lazy bomb. Next, for the skill matchups, we have Ossus and Aleta. I put them both on the skill based because some parts of their kits are countered by Daimon lazy bomb. For example, the flying Ossus ability can be shut down by it, but if the Ossus hits these shots, there is nothing you can really do. Same for the Aleta, you can prevent her from double jumping, but if she gets close too fast, you're probably gonna die anyways. On the hard matchups, we have Skady, Lathia, and Hualing. Skady is here because of her buggy hitbox, which makes it so hard to hit shots on her when she's strafing. Then we got Hualing and Lathia, who should never die to you unless you can catch them off guard, because they are one-shot heroes and you don't counter them. Daimon damage is insane, and it makes her very good against tanks as well. She can shred any tank in the game and destroy their shield very easily, so remember to use her if you're struggling against some double tank compositions as well. Let's finally talk about positioning with the first map, Emmental. At the start of the game, you obviously want to use your fly ability to go forward faster. There are 2 ways to play this map. First, on both sides there are very good spots to hover. You can use them on multiple fights. Be aware to when your enemies start understanding your position, so drop off your spot and start playing together with your team a little bit more. When you're not playing on the spots, you want to control the zone around this room, and it works for both sides of the map. Daimon gun is very strong in this position because the enemies will literally walk into your crosshair and you're gonna shred them. Also, don't be afraid to push up a little bit towards middle or enemy spawn to secure some kills. Next map is gonna be E.Core. Here as well, you want to push towards your jump pad side with your fly ability as soon as the game starts. This is Daimon best control map. You're just gonna hover on these two very high walls on the enemy's side of the spawn for most of the match. The only moment you should drop off is if you see that your team is pushing the enemy spawn, trying to spawn kill. So in that case, you should just go with them to help with the DPS. We're now gonna talk about Brauersdock attack side. At the beginning, you want to go to the right side to take control of the enemy's high ground and also take control of enemy's bridge high ground. Then, when your payload is starting to get closer to the bridge, you want to go on top of it and make sure no enemies is on top red or on the stairs. This way you're gonna avoid getting flanked. With the payload getting closer to the first checkpoint, you want to move your position from the high ground to the nutcracker. From there, you have vision on basically every possible direction the enemies come from, and you also have a big heal close to you in case you need it. Or you can also just fly away to escape and regroup with your team. On the second checkpoint, all you really want to do is keep the high ground for your team. So just go on the right side and watch enemies bridge to avoid them going on their balcony. On the defense side instead, I always start on this nice spot that usually gives me 1 or even 2 kills on the first fight. It also has a very easy path to escape, so just be sure to use it because it's very good. When the cart is getting closer to the bridge, I like to abuse Daimon long range damage. So I usually play close to the second turn on the red corner. Here you can watch the main road and even look for flankers if you play a bit further back. After the enemies get to the first checkpoint, I start playing close to the left side door. But as soon as they push a little bit further, I just go back to the high ground and play from there. Be aware of the flankers, but beside that, you're just gonna shred basically everybody in the enemy team. The next map is gonna be Gigacave. On the start, on attack, I always check with my nade if anybody is on the left high ground, so I can go there safely. So I get to the high ground, just stay there, dish out some damage and try to look for a pick, maybe on the support, on a damage, and then help with the tank. With Daimon on this map, you need to keep in mind one word, high ground. After you win the first fight, push far left and get positioned on the high ground so you can watch their window but also the right side door. Always remember to use your fly ability as an escape as well in case you get pushed and regroup with your team. Then, after you capture the first checkpoint, again, go on the enemy's high ground to always keep yourself with a big advantage. You can use these two little spots I'm showing you or even play with your feet on the ground, but as soon as you're able to, you should move towards the 5k house and play from inside there, both high ground or even on the low grounds as well. At the end, when the cart is getting close to the finish line instead, just play low ground, staying close to your team on the far back side where the jump pad is. You can even look for picks on the cart from there. Now, defense side. At the start, I always use this spot here, but I immediately go back to safety as soon as I see that I cannot get a fast pick or if I just get spotted. When you move, you should go play next to the big rock or even push a little bit further, staying on the first turn corner. There, you can do so much damage and help your tank staying alive on the objective. But be sure to watch out from flankers. Here, for example, I see that my teammate who was watching the flank dies, so I reposition and look at the flank just to get a kill on the Aletta. And since now I'm safe, I can just go back to the corner and dish out some more damage. You can also use your fly ability to get to the bridge and catch some enemies by surprise. It's not that easy to get on top, so be prepared because you're gonna fuck it up a couple of times before you're gonna get used to it. On the second checkpoint, she lacks a bit. There aren't very good position for her because the high grounds are not very good. So I usually play next to the cave or next to the 5k house, but still, she's not very good on the second checkpoint, so be aware of that. Now, next map is Old Medina. This is honestly probably her best map overall. At the beginning of the match, like on most characters, I push the left side on top of the bridge and then go far way back on the left side. Go to the high ground and then watch out on the enemy's high ground and use your flying ability to get on their backline. There you should be able to get a couple kills and secure the enemy's high ground, so then you can just go on their bridge and dish out some damage from there. When you see that your team is capturing the objective, you can push up even further and look for some kills close to the enemy's first spawn point. On the second checkpoint, all you really want to do is abuse the high grounds and prevent the enemies to contest you. So just go on the high ground, look for the enemies coming out of the spawn, and look for the enemies who are trying to go on the high ground and kill all of them. When the cart is getting close to the next checkpoint, I usually move to the higher high ground just because it has a much better line of sight towards the end of this checkpoint and on the enemy spawn. On the last checkpoint, there aren't many good high grounds to abuse with Daimon. So what I personally do is usually flank to the far right side and look for picks. Then, when the cart is getting closer to the big arch at the end, just stay close to the right side door and look for peaks in the enemy spawn. Now, first checkpoint on defense. I usually start using this spot, which basically always gives you at least 2 picks. It's a very good spot also because you have a very good escape as well, going back to another high ground, which gives you another good position to play from. You can also play on the left side room with your team, but I don't really like doing it because you don't really have any good escape routes, so it can be dangerous if you don't run away fast when the enemies are pushing. The last spot you can play from is the safest, and is the high ground bridge. Here as well you have a decent escape towards the right side of high ground, and I say it's the safest because it's the hardest between the 3 spot I told you to push for the enemy team. The second checkpoint is where Daimon really shines. This part of the map is perfect for her. You can play on 3 spots that are very connected to each other and switch between the 3 anytime you want. The first spot is this one. It's an easy spot to get to. You have to go from the higher high ground though. So not many people know it, and it's a very good off angle because the enemies literally have to turn their back onto your team to shoot you. The only thing is that the enemy get used to it pretty quickly, so I usually move back towards the pyramid, as you can see. The pyramid is the perfect place, my favorite, honestly. You don't need to stay hovered onto the wall, you can just walk on top of it, and you're gonna get so many kills. The other spot there is the high ground, which was kind of obvious, honestly, and it's the one that connects both the wall hovers and the pyramid, so it's the one that I use the most. You use the pyramid to get most kills and you use the high ground to look for picks. Second checkpoint, as I said, for the attack side, doesn't have many good high grounds, but it's already better. As you can see, I play literally on top of the enemy spawn because there's the best high ground and it's also an off angle. And you also have a very good escape going on top of the house on the right side, and there you can go back to get your 5k health back on the right side. Last map is Port of Balloon on attack side. On this side, you just want to play on the enemy's high ground or your high ground, honestly. Then, on the first checkpoint, you can start playing high ground on the jump pad, but then I really like doing this spot because the enemies coming out of the spawn never look on the right side. They always look on the payload, so you can catch them off guards and get so many free picks. But then again, after you kill them, make sure to drop off of it. Then finally, third checkpoint. You usually want to start playing towards the right side, meanwhile the cart is getting to the first turn, then go on top of the high ground. When the cart is getting closer to the finish line, you should move to the left side. You can play hovering the wall or even staying on the high ground, honestly. When it's getting really close, then that's when you want to get back to your team, play together on the low ground, so you can even get your heals and help your tank on the cart. And also, obviously, help your DPSs getting the kills on the enemies coming out of the spawn. I said that probably the Old Medina is the best map, but thinking about it, the defense side on this map for Daimon is insane. First checkpoint, you play on this spot, and that's the best escape going back to the other high ground, where you literally get free kills because people watching on the left side, then you move to the right side and you have free line of sight onto them. Then, boy, oh boy, you get to the second checkpoint and people literally cannot see you on this spot. Because even if, like, I'm using the green skin and I think they literally cannot see me because they see me onto the wall and they confuse me with the trees. This spot is insane. You can even go a little bit higher, going from the tree towards the wall back on the spawn, and that's even better, bro. You're literally gonna shred so many people from here and they're not even gonna notice. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to leave that perfect spot when the enemies are getting close to the checkpoint, so just play towards the right side where the stairs are and you should be fine. Honestly, just play with your team. There's not many high grounds you can play on the end of this checkpoint, so just play low ground with your team. At the end of the last checkpoint, just use this left side high ground. You should be playing here, not on the enemy's high ground, because it's hard to reach for your team. And when you're coming out of the spawn, you can literally shoot through this arena thing and get free picks on their high ground. As you can see, I've played Daimon quite a while, and I'm honestly keeping very high stats, like my win rate is almost 100%, so I hope this guide can help you. Always try to use the positioning I'm telling you, and you'll see that your gameplay with her is gonna improve and you're gonna carry so many games. This is the end of the video, so remember to sub, like, leave a comment, and see you on to the next one. Peace!